And welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. Of course, I am Nick Cameron, also of Glacially Musical, which is what this is. And I am joined by my good friend, Keefy. I got nothing.
Nothing. Wow, this is just
Keefy.
two in a row, two fumbles in a row. Bad
I
one last
apologize.
week. This one sucks. Just do better or don't, just be like I'm joined by Keefy. If you ran out of fucking creativity with this thing, then that's
No, I
fine.
I totally forgot to think about it
I don't
until
deserve any plaudits. I'm just Keefy. Everybody calls me Keefy since I'm 5 years old.
yeah, but I
Um,
like I like funny things. So
at Ghost Cult
um
Keefy on the internets, at Ghost Cult Mag. Thanks. Good to be here. Good to be here talking about Kiss. We are almost at the end of the year, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is great to have you. We are now here for the metal power hour of the week with hardcore podcasting. None of that's probably going to happen today. But if you are new, if you are joining us for the first time, because we are talking about the Kiss saga of the 70s, and we'll get into that. I just want to give you the quick heads up and how we go and how we do, because we would love for you to stay for the whole time and like and subscribe. You know, all the stuff everybody else asks for. We start off with the intro, beer check, vinyl check, shirt check, news of the day, and then we chew the fat. And the fat is Kiss, middle of the 70s, 75 to 77. We're going to go post alive through alive 2 today. Before we get to that, I am going to beer check. Today I am drinking a Parity Error by Alpha Brewing in St. Louis. I'm going to go ahead and get my
Good pop.
pour.
I'm impressed you saved the can. I'm really
Thanks.
impressed you saved one for the show.
I had four. I
That's
had four.
it's still admirable.
So cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. That looks cool. Were you drinking that in a mason jar,
Yes, I am,
spaghetti sauce jar?
because somebody has to.
So I have been saving spaghetti sauce jars. I'm feeling like we're heading into sort of like a 1950s America soon, like or early 80s, like poverty and just like spam and a lot of lamb chops and a lot of mason jars and pickling and jellies and stuff. I don't know. I could be off.
Hey, we're headed into a weird place, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got stuff to deal with while I'm going. I don't know.
When the going gets tough,
I eat lamb
the
chops,
weird GoPro.
or I buy Aldi's brand shepherd's pie.
Yo, I am drinking a beer I have never had before on the show or never had before. Yet another band beer, yet another Belching Beaver from Pacifica,
I'm sorry
California.
we never did the band show. We
Yeah,
never
well,
did
I'm
the
just gonna
band
drink
one.
all these band beers that I've been saving for half
Yeah,
a
go
year
ahead,
because
kick
they're
them
gonna be
back.
shitty anyway. This is Deftones' "Good Morning Beautiful," named for one of their songs. This is not a huge fan. I have to literally, I don't have my glasses on, and the print is very tiny on this, so extra light. This is a brown ale with notes of coconut, coffee, and maple. I have no idea what the fuck this is going to taste like. I'm not a big brown ale person. 5.5% alcohol by volume. Look at this beautiful can, though. And again, Belching
Let me
Beaver for
see.
the
I didn't see.
it's blue with like a similar
Mm.
Deftones themed artwork plus the beaver. And yeah, they help. They've collaborated on these beers. Apparently, Belching Beaver are huge Deftones fans, as am I.
Apparently, Alpha Brewing is in my one of my older zip codes.
Okay.
It's actually in a nearby zip code from where I'm sitting.
It does smell very mapley. We're gonna do the finger fudge pour as Nick has dubbed it into the glass. Look how brown that is.
Or Mason jar.
Or mason jar. I never drink a beer this dark. This is gonna be
Let me get a look
interesting.
at that. Let me get a look at that sugary
The
maple
the
business.
stout lasts. Oh fuck. The
Oh,
stout. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm gonna enjoy it. The stout last week and now this. What is wrong with me? But I'm gonna take a sip out of the can just because we're gonna just go right in.
go right in because we.
My mama taught me you close your eyes, you put your mouth down, and you just go right to it.
Whoa! Oh God, we're Amtrak already. Amtrak from
It's
now
not
on.
it's not terrible. It's not my it's I knew I wasn't gonna love this one, so I had this one first. It's like
From
it's all
now
right.
on the Glacier Musical Podcast, Amtrak means we're off the rails. If we're Amtrak, we're off the rails. So
All right, then.
let's make that a thing.
We're going to start seeing Amtrak ads. That's the problem with this. Go
I
ahead.
fucking love Amtrak. It's great.
Yeah, I do too. I enjoy
I've
the
taken
train.
it as far as I've gone is St. Louis to Minnesota. One of the greatest days of my life because
Really?
it took a whole damn day.
Okay.
Here's my vinyl check. I got a deuce for you this week.
All right. You know your man is working hard. He's worth the deuce. Pink.
Yeah, I got this for the family, mostly for the wife. It was $15. Got it at Joe STL Records, St. Louis. It's a double disc. It's I think a 2017, 2018 pressing. Nothing special. Apparently, he just found an old box of them somewhere and got it. And you know what? It's got a couple of good tracks. And I will honestly would love to see Pink live, but she hasn't been to town in a minute, and her concerts are very loud. Or I'm sorry, very expensive. Now I don't know if they're loud or not. I haven't been. Now
I have. So a quick Pink anecdote. I saw Pink earlier this year at the same festival I saw Metallica at back in Memorial Day weekend, and for her first performance in over 2 years, and she said, "I'm sorry if I'm shouting into the microphone. I've only been able to yell at my kids for the last 2 years, but she put on an incredible show. She did a whole medley of rock covers. I really wish she would do a straight up rock and roll album.
she is like she is rock adjacent.
She has such a good voice.
She does, and I love her. I genuinely love Pink.
And that record's, I'm going to tell you, I was a fan of that record when it came out. It's full of bangers. Can't
I was not, but I was. You're a couple years older
trying to
than
be
me.
R&B, Mariah Carey, Christina Aguilera, a little harder, a little more street than even the pop princesses. And she pulled it off. And then she got a certain amount of acclaim with that record, and then decided like, oh, I have enough clout now to kind of just do what I want to do. And she broke through to the mainstream in the pop.
One of the things I like about her is she does not visually portray herself as a perfect goddess. In fact, she has songs about how she is not. So being, somebody who's sensitive to that kind of thing, it is nice to see somebody say, I much like Kelly Clarkson did, I am a human being. I am not, Anyway, I also bought something for myself that day. This one was $30, and I really should go back for another one for later. Boom. And that would be Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss.
I really thought it was going to be something horrible, so I was making a squinty lemon face.
What? When have you ever thought?
You've had some bad taste picks lately, and I'm just I hate to offend my co-host. There's going to be some fighting on this podcast. It's going to be a spicy
we
podcast.
might as well get it.
No, started. We're not. No, it's just like the gloves are all. We're going to drop the gloves, skate for a second around each other, and then just we're gonna square up. I'm gonna grab Nick's shoulder, pull the jersey into the neck, and then jab.
You grab the neck.
And I was taught to grab this like the side of you. Because the neck pulls you to me and opens my face up to get punched.
You hold him, and then what you're talking about is seat belting. You don't want to seat belt me. If gloves are off, no point in
I got dinosaur arms. I have T-Rex arms. I don't have reach.
Well, then you do a jersey
You're taller
jab.
Than me.
You do the jersey jab. You grab here, and you just lift it up.
If I get you in close to me, then you can't get me, and I have a shot at you. I'm shorter than you. Today it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Frankly, this is a hockey fight lesson from two dudes that have never been in one. So
I've never been. I've skated badly. Was a peewee goalie badly. Could not skate to save my life. I wanted to be a goalie so bad, and
you got to be able to skate really well to be a goalie.
A friend of my mom's, like the manicurist for my mom, used to date Ron Greschner to throw it back to the 80s. How's that taste? That looks really delicious. This beer, I'm not gonna.
It is. It's a little fruity, just the right amount of fruity. It's a 7% IPA. It's great. I'm gonna drop my shirt check.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Slayer. No notes. One of the greatest records. Arguably the greatest record ever in metal. So
that is inarguably Slayer's greatest record.
Oh yeah, no question. Their best,
especially the classic Slayer.
Yeah.
My shirt check this week is Metallica. On a personal note, I am all Metallica'd up. This past weekend, I bought my 72 Seasons tickets. I pre-ordered 72 Seasons the record. If the world and the Lord or devil works in my favor, I am coming home with a copy of Beyond Magnetic on Friday. Fingers crossed.
Oy, you had me until Beyond Magnetic, but
I want them all.
let me ask you a
Pokemon.
question.
Go ahead.
Got to catch them all.
Except
Does
Saint
the
Anger.
does the does the purchase of the concerts come with the 72 seasons digital download?
No, you could
Didn't this
purchase
time.
it. You could purchase it
So
on
so that's
Ticketmaster.
interesting because remember last
Correct.
time it was very controversial when Hardwired came out. You bought tickets to the tour literally for years, and
Mm-hmm.
every ticket came with a copy of the album. Now the tickets were high.
I received 2 CD copies of it for Hardwired. I believe this. It's been 5 years since I made this purchase, but I believe I dropped about $75, maybe $90 for 2 seats for one show. This ticket was $92, so it's the same price, except I'm in the cheapest seats. $92 plus fees.
There's no cheap. They're in the round. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm in section. I'm in row U.
Is this an arena or the football stadium?
No, this is football stadium.
That's cool.
This is the football stadium we have holds 65 in the seats.
I need to
Maybe
get
like
there
69.
early, like an hour plus early, to just wait online to get into the building through security, all that shit.
Yeah, it's going to be probably at least 75,000 total for this show.
Very cool.
I agree, cool. And I have invited Keefy to come with me.
We may have to go take you up on it. I may have to. I'm hoping to also see the tour before that, but I gladly will go twice. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So that's your vinyl checks. Your shirt check, we skip right over my vinyl check.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, you do that. You do that sometimes. Don't have a clever nickname for me. Skip me over on the vinyl check. That's fine. What should I do first? My vinyl check.
All right, Keefy, click track because you're always on time.
Yo, what? Complaining like a shirt check first and then vinyl. What do you want?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, my shirt check is just one of my favorite household beaters. This is my I Want to Believe X-Files shirt. Can't really appreciate it, but everybody kind of had that poster for about 10 years in the 90s. X-Files, my favorite show of all time, bar none. I know David Duchovny was discussing in the media this week that he's open to coming back for yet another season. Gillian Anderson has said absolutely not under any circumstances if she want to revisit the show. I'd like to get a movie. They feel like they've really never captured, except that first one, they really never failed to capture. That second movie had the misfortune of coming out the same day as The Dark Knight Rises, or The Dark Knight, I forget which one. I think it was The Dark Knight. Really rough. And just bad luck.
Go ahead.
But
quick X-Files anecdote. Did not watch. However, they always chose real names of cities in each state, right? The Missouri episode they did was based in Creve Coeur, Missouri. And they showed Creve Coeur as this trailer park dump. And it pissed everybody off because Creve Coeur is one of the most expensive, super high dollar white bread suburbs. It's one of the few places that has a Trader Joe's.
Interesting.
No Whole Foods though.
Yeah, I don't know. Accuracy, they weren't necessarily going for it.
I just thought it was funny.
First 5 years of X-Files were shot in British Columbia, Vancouver, near Vancouver Island, and then the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 presumably were all done in LA. Again, I didn't mind the return of the series. It was a rough ending, kind of sloped down as the seasons wore on, but I liked that they came back for 10 was very good. 11 was all right. And I'd much rather have a movie than a whole nother season of television, especially if Jillian is not coming back. I'm not that interested. But
if she's not coming back, how could anybody be interested?
Well,
it's not like it sticks without Dennis DeYoung.
They screwed her for a long time financially. She literally.
No, I'm just saying, why would anybody care? I wouldn't care.
Well, Duchovny is very, popular and charismatic.
Fair enough.
But okay. He's always playing him. He's kind of like Jack Nicholson. He's always playing himself to a degree, whatever role he's in. So
no shade for her for not coming back. I'm just saying if I'm in that fandom, it's like Clerks, man. Clerks without well, I guess we can talk about it now. There cannot be a Clerks 4 because Dante is dead. It's just not a thing.
You spoiled it, but yes.
It was 6 months ago.
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to do a whole episode on Clerks. We never did. Maybe we'll do an episode on Clerks music.
Oh.
So my vinyl check, unless you have something else.
Nothing. I'm gonna shut up.
Vinyl check is, as I continue to go in order for stuff I bought this year,
Same.
Haven Heavy Pendulum, as voted on by the staff of GhostCultMagazine.com, which I run, the #2 album of the year. This is a marvelous record. Was also high on my list. I think it was 4 on my list. So beautiful, gatefold. Look at this incredible artwork. You know, the band has been through a lot of stuff at the death of their bass player, Caleb Schofield. And it's
I
dedicated to
love
him.
that gatefold.
Yeah,
Love
gatefold
that.
is gorgeous. 14 songs, a little bit long, but you know, they are worth it. And then there's this vinyl came with some cool ass shit. So it's on a double vinyl. It first comes with this illustrated lyric book with this very cool matching muted matte yellow and more graphics that look like the artwork in the gatefold, right? And then let's take a look at the Beauteous vinyl, which only came, I think, in a paper sleeve.
I can see that from here, and that
You
is
see it from here.
oh,
Again, I like the color
it's like
vinyls.
Sarah Palin in Russia. I can see it from my house.
Yow.
Got to get political sometimes.
They are, yeah, they're having a very bad week. Or very bad year. Shout out to Senator Raphael Warnock for keeping his senatorial seat.
While
And
we're shouting out real quick, if I could shout out friend of the show, Danny Nichols, checked out his Beckmork CD this week.
Okay.
As I had mentioned, he gave me 3 CDs. I checked out the first one, Torchlight Parade. Really dug it. I'm not. It's very different, so I'm not sure how I feel about it compared to the first. The first was an amazing record. So, but this one, Beckmork, it's his attempt at Swedish black metal. It is far more experimental than the first one. So, with both of these bands, the second record is much different than the first. So it's taking time, but it definitely interesting.
You should link me the Bandcamp
Will do.
to Beckmork, if I said that correctly.
I think so.
And that sounds like a dark funeral kind of thing. So I might be
Well,
into it.
real quick story. Take 30 seconds. At a soccer match, Danny and I went to FC St. Louis, our old USL team. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got this band that I want you to check out. They're a pretty cool black metal band." He hands it to me. Doesn't tell me that it's him. He's like, "What'd you think of that Beckmork thing?" I'm like, "Really? I really dug." He's like, "It's me." So cheeky bastard.
Clever. Do we have a lot of news to discuss this week? We talked about your Metallica news. Is there anything you really like to? I guess
Couple
Metallica has
things.
their charity concert this week, which
Yeah.
you can watch for free on YouTube, MTV, and Paramount Plus. So I'll be
Just a couple
watching
quick things.
Friday
Oh,
at
I'm sorry.
5:30 Pacific.
A couple quick news items. One, we talked about the Roger Waters lockdown sessions. That dropped today, or dropped yesterday as we record this on the 13th, which makes no goddamn sense. It was a Tuesday. We don't do Tuesdays anymore. And as expected, it is reworkings of old songs. It is 6 tracks, 40 minutes. I've seen some sites calling it an EP. It is not an EP. 40 minutes is an LP. Shut up. It's 20 minutes each side. That's an LP. That's Led Zeppelin. That's an LP. But it's 6 songs, 5 of them being Pink Floyd, 3 off the wall, 2 off Final Cut, and 1 track, The Bravery of Being Out of Range, which is one of my absolute favorite Roger Waters tunes, From Amused to Death, is on there. They are stripped down, largely acoustic. I was upset till I listened. I am going to definitely buy that when I can get a vinyl copy of it. The other news item, aside from the Metallica thing, which is still growing and bigging, and is Rex pulled out of a couple of Pantera shows, and it turns out he has COVID. So they have a backup waiting in the wings. I guess when you're in a band where half of the members are replaced, you can just have understudies. So looking at the future, and that is all my news for the week.
Yeah, so I would probably, I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but I would guess that Rex is probably not vaccinated, but that's fine at this point. Some people are just not going to do it. His backups were Derek Engman from Scour and formerly of Cattle Decapitation, as well as Bobby Landgraf, who is an associate of Down and a former guitar player and bassist in Down. So he's a tech for bands as well. And
it's like James Hetfield said, if you're a tech,
learn shit.
Know your band songs.
Know your stuff. So and like I said, Charlie Benante, who I adore because he's in Anthrax, one of my favorite bands, has perpetual hand and wrist issues. So you know, there's always somebody waiting in the wings to spell him
Well,
if he
I
can't
mean,
go.
it hurts me to say this, but we're talking about some old dudes.
Mid 50s to 60s. Yep.
Yeah.
And Rex is the oldest member of Pantera, by the way, by quite a few years. He was older than both the brothers. He was a year ahead of them in high school.
Well,
Older than Philip.
I want to say Daryl was 15 when the first one was done. 15 or 16, and Vinny was 3 years older.
Yeah. And so Rex would be 19 at that time. So
Yeah.
he's a little older. Speaking of Pantera, just briefly, as I predicted, everybody was upset about the Metallica Pantera shows. I don't have a choice. I have to go to this. A lot of money. Pantera has been announced as the headliner for Incarceration Festival. Pantera has been announced for one of the Danny Wimmer festivals, Welcome to Rockville, along with Tool, Slipknot, and Avenged Sevenfold, who is imminently going to announce an album at this point. So, very interesting. Also, back from the dead is Chimaira, celebrating 20 years of their Impossibility of Reason album, I believe. So yeah, interesting stuff. Blue Ridge Rock Festival also will have Pantera as a headliner. They're not, they're just starting to roll out their announcements, and they were really like the first fest to do the big reunion things. Last year they had Kitty, Shadows Fall, Saliva, and God Forbid. They already have a Flyleaf this year coming back reunited. They have Cold
Wait, the
Chamber.
real Flyleaf?
Flyleaf with Lacey Sturm. She's back in the band.
I saw them on the first tour without her.
They're moved. Yeah, I mean they've done very well without her, and she didn't want to be in the band anymore. And
yeah, but she was so much better.
They are much better together. They're going to make new music apparently, like at least an EP. So they're very energized by the fans. Were like,
Holy
OMG. Crap. And a lot of bands are doing like, we hear about the silent quitting in America now. And I don't know about the rest of the world, just like, I'm just going to quit quietly and not show up anymore. Bands are doing the, I'm taking my band off of my Instagram, and that's a sign they're out of the band. So conversely, as bands reunite, they start dropping breadcrumbs to their fans, like not even a photo of the reunited band, because photos are hard right now with the pandemic, but interesting enough to see all these bands coming back together. There's a lot of excitement, and then some bands that never went away, or some bands that kind of are, sort of stealthy, stealth reunions, like Bleeding Through never break up, but they're not full-time anymore. But then they have a little bit of touring and a new release of music, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Put a new single out this year. So like, I'm with these reunions. I know nostalgia gets a bad rap from people older and younger
it's a
than
hell
us,
of a drug,
but people like it. It's not always worth it. I would give definitely a testicle to go see God Forbid with Shadows Fall somewhere. And I have told Lamb of God, like, listen, you have one job in the next couple of years. I interviewed Willie from Lamb of God, Flex, and I told him, dude, please, like 2023, 2003, let's get Shadows Fall, God Forbid, Lamb of God, and Killswitch Engage to tour together. Just make it happen, or do your own festival somewhere, like in Richmond, but make it happen. And he's like, I'll work on it, I promise. So, I don't really have a lot of other news, but just, we're bearing down to the end of the year, and not a lot of records coming out, but the first couple of big records for next year will be Obituary and Catatonia. Just throwing that out there.
I didn't know Obituary had one coming.
They have a brand new record imminently releasing early in January. So very exciting.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if you are good,
very good.
Let's truck it on. It's time to cut that steak. So, as we left Kiss in 1976, I believe, 6-ish. Yeah, it was 6 because they toured into spring of 76. My Cobo Hall DVDs are on the Alive tour in January. So the word on the street going around the industry is these clown-faced nut bar jackasses that had a major hit with a stupid song about nothing, Rock and Roll All Night, are headed into one and done territory. And frankly, they have a point. We're talking about 1975 to 1976. At this point in time, music is going into a more serious direction. Prog is happening. Pink Floyd is exploding. Led Zeppelin is moving into the, I believe, Houses of the Holy era, and Black Sabbath is kind of run its course at this point. They are now into stupidity. We are about to hit sabotage, then technical ecstasy, and then just all kinds of awful. And the eras ran different back then, so we are kind of at a cusp. Alice Cooper is about to drop Welcome to My Nightmare, which it's like Kiss, but more serious, which is kind of weird if you think about it. So what do? They think to themselves, we don't want to be a one-shot deal. We want to be serious. We want to be taken fully. We want to be Led Zeppelin. We want to be the Stones. So they do what Alice Cooper's always done. They call Bob Ezrin. And it's time to talk about Bob Cocaine Brains Ezrin one more time. You want to talk about a dude that's snowblind all day long? Peter Criss talked about how he couldn't keep up to Bob Ezrin's cocaine habit. Bob Ezrin is on record that basically half of the 70s were written by the Schneef. It is what it is. He was good then. He takes Kiss. He puts them through musical boot camp. He makes them do all these things. And then, okay, let's do the track by track first, because I want to discuss this backwards.
By the way, just for listeners, that will be the high point of the podcast at this point. And Nick's segments, when he has control of the con, is the greatest thing ever. I'm just going to leave that out there and apologize in front for what is to come in a few minutes. But like,
wait, what did I do?
What you did was, you're always brilliant at the table setting. When you do,
thank you.
I just mute myself and let you go, and you never disappoint, and you always rise to the occasion. Well done, sir.
Thank you. And you always fill in the wonderful holes and give the journalistic business of the things that I can only pretend to.
Oh, the bullshit is coming. Trust me, it's gonna be a fight in a second.
Oh, I know. We're going.
Go for it.
Let's
go
track
track by track. We're talking about Destroyer, right?
Destroyer,
so you didn't
correct.
say the name of the album.
Yes, I thought I did. Well, whatever.
You didn't. I have some thoughts.
I googled it.
I have many thoughts. I listened to this album 3 times this week. Woe is me. And go for it, bro.
Sorry about that. Had a bit of a laggy business. The whoa, I assume, was when I spilled a little beer on my cheek. I'm drinking out of a goddamn mason jar. I'm sorry. Okay. So we are going to start with, here's how we're going to do this, right? Detroit Rock City. Perfect song. No notes. Thoughts?
Busted me trying to refill my beer.
Sorry, bud.
Detroit Rock City is great. And it's pretty damn great, I have to say. It is one of the best Kiss songs ever.
Agreed.
I'm
a little tired of it, but I can't.
Somewhat inspired by a true story.
Inspired by, yes, it's inspired. It's like Mitch Hedberg said. It's based on a true story. It inspired me to write this.
I don't like Quiet Down, San Francisco. I don't like The Highway is right near my house. I don't like that they went back in during it was either the remaster recently, and Paul changed the lyrics.
Those lyrics changes were on originally double platinum.
Right. I'm not.
You Gotta Lose Your Life in Detroit is on double platinum.
It's not just, it's a going fast doing 95.
Mm-hmm.
He said going fast down 95. Now Kiss is from New York City. Ace Frehley has crashed his car on I-95 multiple times, including the infamous Yonkers fender bender.
Yeah,
literally at the intersection of 95.
Ace does the things over and over.
Yeah, it's just like his guitar solos. Yo, but listen, like, I don't like that he did that. But there's a really great, like,
we're not talking about the remix. We're talking about the Ridge.
I know, but it just irks me. I always, even though I know 95 runs nowhere near Detroit Rock City, I like going fast down 95 because I could relate to it as a kid.
I like doing 95.
I didn't have a car. All right, makes sense. Ultimately a great song, and probably one of the signature sounds of the band is that good pre-guitar solo.
Oh yeah,
thematic motif guitar solo,
which Ace Frehley didn't write.
I know, Paul. Paul wrote it.
No, Bob.
Oh, is it Bob? Okay.
He hummed it and said, "Play that."
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. But there's like a thing where Paul is teaching it to Ace, which is interesting that Paul picked it up before Ace. But anyway, continue.
You know, as much as everybody wants to tell you Ace is the musician,
That's Paul.
yeah. Next, we go to King of the Nighttime World. Not a bad song, a little bit silly. But what we have gotten so far is Kiss is doing a bigger sound, a more symphonic sound. Not that this is remotely symphonic, but more symphonic than, say, Dress to Kill. A little tired of this song, a little
Yeah.
squiffy.
I always liked this song. It was a really good #2 track on the album. I even as a child, I knew Headlight Queen meant chicks. Like he's talking about boobs and women.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, yeah, or like who's at the front of the stage. But like I think he
Fair.
meant booby chicks. And Gene, man, and Gene and Paul love the boogie rock, man. They love to write rolling bass lines and riffy riffs that complement rolling bass lines. I don't know if they just got hooked on Black Dog and never came back, but like Gene will write 100 songs with the do 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 do
Oh,
do the same bass line as Rock and Roll Night over and over again, and he plays them well. Plays them well.
Next track, God of Thunder. Truly amazing. One of Kiss's top 5 tunes.
Maybe their best song.
It is not the story Gene tells about how Paul said it's anybody can write a Gene Simmons song about evil creepiness, because there's no evil and no creepiness in any of Gene's songs ever, except Almost Human.
Well, I mean, like there's some
Evil supernatural.
Creepy. Oh, okay.
Evil
you mean
supernatural.
like superhero stuff.
Yeah, that is
I'm
not a
talking
thing.
about Gene is
yes,
50
he's
and
disgusting.
the chick is 12.
However, yeah, we'll get there.
Those.
However, there is a myth believed by Kiss fans the world over, the demon songs. There isn't one. Not one. The word demon has been uttered twice in Kiss tunes. One written by Paul, one written by Gene, and when he was trying to be scary. 20 years later. Thoughts?
God of Thunder, the most covered Kiss song, probably besides Hard Luck Woman and Beth. Arguably the best Kiss song possible. Riff is great, lyrics are great, atmosphere, Bob Ezrin's children on a walkie-talkie.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Literally, it's the album cover has come to life on God of Thunder.
Oh yeah.
And we'll talk about the artwork later, but yeah.
Let's flip the record. I'm sorry, no. Well, no, actually, let's flip the record, because Great Expectations, one of the top bottom 5 Kiss tracks in the
terrible song. Don't understand why they ripped off Beethoven. Was it Beethoven?
Yeah.
Did not credit Beethoven. They credited themselves. It's kind of like incredible that an actual record label allowed this. Bob totally knew what they were doing.
It was, yeah. I mean, at that point,
nobody was checking. I can't imagine somewhere out there Deutsche Grammophon, who owns the rights to everything.
Well, they still own it. That's not fair use yet.
I don't know if that stuff was ever fair use, because
it
might have been copyrighted in the last 50 years anyway.
I'm gonna tell you right now, we've spent too much time on this song.
It sucks.
Yes, let's flip the record. Flamin' Youth, not bad, not great.
It's all right.
Sweet Pain, can do with can do without. Shout It Out Loud, amazing harmonies, vocal harmonies, instrumental harmonies, pianos, everything.
Do you think Shout It Out Loud was their attempt to make another Rock and Roll All Night? Because it's the
first time they tried to make Rock and Roll All Night. Yeah, it's the first time they tried to remake it. We'll get to more.
It's a great song. They've opened a lot of concerts with it. I've seen it many times. It's a great concert opener and one closer.
Beth, let's put a pin in that. Not much to talk about. We're gonna come back. We're putting a pin. Do You Love Me? Great Paul Stanley tune. Another one of those fake it till you make it songs. Great drum beat by Peter Criss, and I don't say that much. Great song. Love that one. Now, this album started off as a commercial failure.
I have another angle about this, but I'll let you go. Go ahead.
So it started off with, they dropped I forget the order of the singles. Let me check it out here. No, that's
King of the Nighttime World.
Shout It Out Loud. Nobody cared. God of Thunder. Nobody cared.
Right. This is Following Alive, which is a huge
following
hit.
One of the biggest band in the world.
And Rock and Roll Night is a radio single. right?
Yes,
And top,
and
like,
big
it's
hit,
their first hit single.
platinum single.
Right. Platinum single, which is like they didn't even have a single planned and they had to go press one.
Right. So Shout It Out Loud, fail. God of Thunder, fail. Flaming Youth, fail.
Yeah, it was a terrible
Detroit Rock
tour.
City, fail.
Right.
But on the backside of that is Beth, which becomes a de facto single, which saves
I'm going to refute Gene's assertion that I strategically placed Beth on the backside of Detroit Rock City, so they would have to play it.
I never heard him say that, but
I've totally heard him. It's in history. He's a moron. It does not real. He just made that up to give himself retroactive credit for this. Like, Kiss snatches victory from the jaws of defeat.
Oh, completely.
Again.
This is Coop Cooper whacking the shooting the ball in basketball to win the Denslow Cup. It just was an accident. It happened. Thank fuck it did.
Yeah, so Beth happens. Beth is a thing.
Beth is not. Yeah, it's not my favorite song. It is the least Kiss song they have ever done.
So
well written, well done.
Did you have Beth as a 45? Because I did.
I did not. I was only like one.
I love.
It wasn't
Peter
even
Criss.
one. I was Peter 6 months old at this point.
I love Peter Criss, and I was obsessed with Beth as a child. Obsessed with it.
For me, my memories start at Dynasty.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I never remember listening to even Detroit Rock City. Now, like, obviously, Kiss was constantly on rotation in my house because of my brother. We won't talk about him, but at least I got Kiss from him and a few other things. But Beth was ubiquitous, man. It was everywhere. Peter's got a great voice. Sounds like Rod Stewart. We'll come back to that again.
We will. We're going to come back to that in 5 minutes.
Here's the thing. Here's really quick. This is worth talking about. So Kiss, flatlining career, fluke alive. Fluke. A complete fluke. They can say it was planned. They shaped the generation. Planned. They changed the music history forever with the live albums, but it was a fluke that it worked.
That was a Doug Flutie.
Flutie Flakes, man. Complete Hail Mary.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. I get that they were on tour because of the demand of the single and the album and two platinum releases basically back to back after nothing, no sales. And then those records start being repressed and sold. And the Kiss sort of aura begins to grow. But here's the thing. They did not come prepared for Destroyer, even with Bob.
Nope.
Because either they were too fucked up on drugs and alcohol, which they started to be, and again, not Gene and not Paul, but Ace and Peter, but also they didn't really come in prepared for the record because Ezrin rejected 95% of what they demoed. Rejected it. And these songs are worse than the worst 3 that made the record. These are all worse. Some of them come back later. I mean,
honestly, half this record is bad for me.
Yeah, for sure. And this was their most important record of their career, right?
It is still the most important studio
It's the biggest selling Kiss record besides if you just take out Beth, it's still the biggest selling Kiss record of all time. It has what are considered to be 3 or 4 classic Kiss songs, top 5 Kiss songs, top 10 Kiss songs. Oh, yeah. The rest of the record is dreck. It's unlistenably bad sometimes.
I had this on vinyl.
Yeah.
And I sold it for $1.
They didn't come prepared for this record. Like, why? I understand about the demands and the time and the tour. Get back out and tour. The records and shirts are selling. Get back out and tour. I totally understand it. But they didn't come prepared. Their life was, I guess they felt like our life is not on the line anymore. Whatever we put out next will be okay. That's why Bob put them into music school. He literally did sight reading.
Yes, he did.
Taught them rhythm and how to listen to songs actively and all kinds of things that I learned in school. But it's like, why didn't they come better? Why is half this record written by Stan Penridge and Kim Fowley, who's a rapist and horrible, and Bob Ezrin, who's a coke freak, and he's a genius, but he's a coke freak. Like, why did they not come prepared for their own record? It's really baffling.
Here's the fact of this segment, and hopefully we can move on. They at this point in time, they spent a month in the studio, which is twice as long, which is as long as they spent on the previous 3 records. And they still came out on the short end of the stick in my mind. Some great tracks, but I mean, as equally good as God of Thunder is, is just as bad as Great Expectations is.
It's mind-blowingly bad.
Yeah, I know.
I just felt like Destroyer deserves a little more talk time than the other two.
Fair.
So if you
Fair.
felt like this went a little long, I'm sorry, but I'm just no other band in the history of bands has been like, oh, we almost punted our whole career and we got our
Twice.
ass saved by a fluke.
Twice.
Let's not come prepared for the next full record. Like I've never
Fair.
heard of that.
Fair. Fair.
Never.
Completely
I'll
fair.
stop there, but just like
Great point. Thank you for making that point. Cheers to you, Mason Jar.
I'll drink one more of the sip of this gruel and then like fuck.
Dude, it's a nice stout. Just drink
I know,
it.
I'm just not a stout person.
All right, so they go on tour. Kiss at this point plays the St. Louis Kiel Auditorium, I believe, for the first time. Don't quote me. There is video on YouTube's. It's in black and white, so I've never watched it. They come up with, in my opinion, their coolest stage. However, most of the really cool shit you could not see because each section of the stage on the floor was based off each member's persona. However, no one could see it, so that was a waste of money. Great work. The cool effects they used didn't work, so they got rid of them. And they do their tour. They play their first stadium show in Anaheim, which probably everybody listening to this and watching this on YouTube has already seen. Check it out if you have not. Flo and Eddie, Kiss Destroys Anaheim. It's out there. Now, they go, their biggest hit is Alive, followed up by Destroyer. Ezrin, Kramer, Ezrin. What do? They got to go to one of them. They go to the Easy Man, Eddie Kramer. Love Eddie Kramer. Amazing work. However, this man is not going to take your songs and improve them. He's going to take your sound and improve it. There's two kinds of producers. Neither one is better than the other. However, if you are the kind that is going to go to the producer who's going to make you sound great, you better come in with songs. And let's see if they did. Oh, also, this was recorded in an airplane hangar. God damn, I've lost my perspicacity. This was recorded in an airplane hangar in order to get that live sound because Destroyer, let's be realistic, okay? Take Off Beth, Destroyer's a failure. Period. You take off Beth, this is failure dropped off the label into oblivion. So they smartly realize they got to do something different. They go back to Eddie, who recorded them, who got them to sound great, including several perhaps overdubs, maybe, depending upon whom you ask. Lots of them. So they record Rock and Roll Over. All right. Anything you need to follow up on that? Because they're just jumpers. I mean, they're just little water bugs.
Rock and Roll Over was my first vinyl record ever, bought with my own money. Rock and Roll Over remains my favorite Kiss anything ever.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I think a lot of it is underrated. Over the test of time, it has improved. They came in with better songs than they did for Destroyer. That's inarguable. Is it their best, is it still a competent record on some standards? No. However, they knew they didn't have Ezrin and other people that Ezrin can get to come write you a song.
True.
To fall back on. So they had to come in at least marginally better prepared. However, what they also did was repurpose a lot of stuff that was rejected from other records, and even Wicked Lester and stuff, still somehow finding a way 7-8 years later to make it onto a record. It doesn't quite it's lazy shit for a band whose entire life is riding on this, but like at the same time now with 2 platinum records and a platinum single in a row.
As I lead the track by track this time, I'm going to drop the writers.
But yeah, by the way, Kiss Destroyer did go gold in 8 months without Beth. So like, it's not that it was like dead as a record. There was an effect, let's just talk really quick. There's an effect. When you have a hit record, usually people just go buy your next record sight unseen. Right. This is before you could listen to records. It was almost no way, except for radio singles, it was almost no way to judge a record until you bought it.
Beth was 5 months, by the way.
Maybe. I don't know. I seem to
according to Wiki, which we learned with
should not do. But I'm going off of just my knowledge of the band and my history following them. I didn't quite go to the wiki this week, but I listened to these records a lot and I relied on my memory. And
I didn't go to the wiki much. I'm just using the
I didn't
track
watch
listing
history
mostly.
over, and
But
I do like this record actually gets better with age, unlike most Kiss things except Revenge. So that's
I disagree.
okay.
But I've never liked this one, and it has not improved for me.
Okay,
It starts off with "I Want You," written by Paul. Perfect, great, no notes.
it's a banger. End of story.
"Take Me" is crap, written by Paul and his choreographer Sean Delaney.
Let's talk. Can we talk for a second? Do we have a second to talk about Sean Delaney because we didn't talk about him yet.
A little bit, yeah. Go ahead.
Sean Delaney is kind of like had his own unsuccessful bands. He was a singer.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up being an associate of Aucoin and Bogart.
And Aucoin's partner for a number of years.
Yeah, his partner. And Sean ended up like the more he gets involved with Bill and Neil, he gets more involved with Kiss. At first he's just their tour manager. Then and guitar tech and things.
No,
then
he started off as choreographer.
Yeah, he started he literally beginning. Sean Delaney, if you love Kiss or you make fun of Kiss, this thing from Strutter. Sean Delaney invented that move. He taught it to them. All their moves, but he really taught that move. That's what he should be remembered for. Correct. He literally gave them the panache to three guys who can't dance to literally dance to the riff in unison. It's brilliant. It's part of every Kiss show. Everyone expects it. Sean Delaney ends up co-writing songs on Kiss records.
And for the record, I made the flippant comment, the choreographer. He co-wrote some bangers with Ace.
He wrote most of Ace's solo record. He wrote most of Paul's solo record with Paul. He is an indelible member of history.
Oh yeah,
San Francisco is having an issue tonight.
Musically speaking, on stage speaking, he's Kiss number 5.
And he also eventually helped with their design of their stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you got to give this guy a tremendous. He might have failed in his own career, but he is.
Hey, those who can't teach.
Yeah, well off because of what he was able to give to Kiss.
Correct.
So go continue. I'll stop.
Take Me is terrible.
Take Me is pretty terrible, yes.
Moving on to Calling Dr. Love, Gene Simmons' last legitimate classic in my mind.
No,
because everything going forward of his, it's classic, is co-written often by Vinnie Vincent or Bob Dylan or Lou Reed. So work that out. Great track. Ladies' Room. Holy shit, this is terrible.
Kiss is a one-note pony, man. They got not a lot of depth except for Black Diamond in their whole history and Detroit Rock City. They are not good storytellers.
Well, he found a gear that I didn't know he could find.
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
Baby Driver. This is how you close a record out. You make the listener want to break it. Great work, Peter Criss.
Oh, stop. And so Baby Driver. I'm gonna come in and argue. Baby Driver.
You argue. It's fine.
Gets a co-write because Penridge and Chris.
Right. I'm sure it's a Chelsea.
The song that became Beth.
A Chelsea. And
it's a Chelsea reject. But you may think it's a shit song, but actually, if you know Peter's origins and not just his bands that he's been in, but the stuff that he really loves. Peter would rather be a yacht rock jazz guy than be a rocker. And that's actually the truth. And Baby Driver is not a terrible song. It's got a
I've heard his solo records. Yeah, I know.
Next week we're going to fight so hard.
Something
but I think Baby Driver is at least decent. It's not terrible.
Okay. We can disagree. That's fine. We're going to flip the record. And I think I hope we agree. Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, Jesus fucking Christ. What was it? Ladies' Room was a low gear. This is a transmission drop. He didn't
Paul did not, except for I Want You and Hard Luck Woman. Paul really struggled with this. Is one of his worst records.
No, this is a Simmons tune.
Is it? I thought it was Paul.
No. And not only did Gene write this song, sing it, and get it on the record, Ace played a pretty kicking solo with a little bit of semi fretboard tapping, but he just dropped the transmission on this one. I mean, the transmission is behind the car.
It's a shitty song.
Yeah, moving up to Mr. Speed, another track by Stanley and Delaney.
Not terrible. Pretty
Is
decent.
terrible.
Oh no, it's all right, man. It's actually got a very good, catchy chorus. I like
It's
the
better
chorus.
than Love 'Em and Leave 'Em.
It's better than the other two.
Fair. Okay, next we move on to See You in Your Dreams Tonight, which is later repurposed. We'll get back to that. The repurpose is better. Hard Luck Woman. I mean, what can you say? It may not be your cup of tea. It's not mine. The lyrics are odd. However, it's a well-written, great yacht rock tune.
Hard luck. Well, first of all, it's country. It's a country song. It's country rock. It is, like a result of Hotel
Whatever
California.
it is, it's top.
It is an incredible. Do you say it sucks? It's an incredible song. What's wrong with you?
Top notch. I said.
Oh no,
top
okay.
notch.
I thought you said sucks. It's an incredible song. I do think they were really hoping one of these things with Peter was going to jump off to be a hit song again.
Look, they're trying again. They rewrote Rock and Roll All Night.
Hard Luck Woman is maybe a better song than Beth. I got to be honest.
Destroyer. They rewrote Beth on Rock and Roll Over. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it is a better song than Beth.
It's a great song, and I have to. I love the Garth Brooks cover. Is actually maybe the best cover of any Kiss song ever.
It's truly amazing. And then we get to Making Love, which, oh fuck me, with a slight lyrical change, is not terrible.
Good riff. Rest of the song sucks. Good riff though. That like very crunchy. Paul writes some riffs, man. He doesn't get enough credit as a guitar player in a song.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Half this record also sucks, but the half that's really great is actually better than Destroyer in most cases, except for God of Thunder.
Okay, fair enough. Lyrically, Making Love is probably the worst Kiss song.
Ooh, that's hard. We should do a whole chaser on worst Kiss lyrics.
Based on what he says.
It's pretty bad.
Okay, we're going to get to some awfulness again here momentarily. So then they go on.
I do love Rock and Roll Over though. Like his really, I love the record. I know half.
Not my favorite. It's got 3 good tunes, which is low for the Kiss bar. But that's me.
I'd say 4 or 5, but okay.
Fair. That's it's personal taste. They then move on into the tour. Another strong tour. Ace is electrocuted in Florida. Kiss plays the Budokan, sells it out for 6 nights. Great stuff. There is an HBO concert special. Yes, kids, there was a time when band concerts were played on television in some from time to time.
Well, band concerts are going to, we just mentioned, band concerts are going to be played this week on television. Metallica. YouTube. Be on television. Yeah, but still, it's television. Like Paramount Plus is television. MTV is television. It's on MTV.
Okay.
Television. YouTube is television. Like TikTok is television. Like it's all television now.
Fair. I withdraw my pedantry. So I've never done that. You get that. You're the first person ever to get that.
Nick's pull-out game is weak, but not tonight.
Whoa, fuck me. And I only got 1 kid.
Sometimes.
Whoa. Can we move forward?
You can.
Put a pin in Budokan. We're going to come back to that in 10 minutes. Let us crush Love Gun. Love Gun, significantly speaking, may bring back Eddie Kramer.
Can we just say one thing? So Destroyer, Ken Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the guy's name. Rock and Roll Over, incredible album cover, and it
my favorite.
My favorite also came with the sticker of the cover that you could put on things. Imitated by many other bands, including Audrey Horne and Kiss, Audrey Horne and Anthrax, famously on their Kings of Scotland. But yeah, brilliant artwork. Love Gun,
amazing,
incredible. Is that back?
I'm sorry, I'm talking about Rock and Roll Over.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Rock and Roll Over. Yeah, but also Love Gun is next on that album cover. Also, they finally like unlocked the key of their artwork. You know what I'm saying?
Here, I'm talking now so you can see the artwork on YouTube.
It's pretty cool.
I actually got this.
The glare on the plastic though.
I know. Well, I mean, it's. I got that for $10 at an antique mall. Actually,
that's awesome. I'm jealous.
Would have been
I need that record.
Would have been great if the Johnny Cash Sings Hank Williams record had not been some other record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a bad day. Evened out. So they go back to Ken Kelly to make their cover. They go back to Eddie Kramer to make their record. They start off with I Stole Your Love, which is, wow, the barrel is scraping. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel on lyrical
I
content.
do like the delay effect on Paul's vocals.
Agreed.
And
I like the song.
another rolly riff, rolly bass, and good drumming. Not a very great song, but like the effort was an A. The delivery was a C.
They get an E for effort. E for effort. Christine 16, fuck this shit. Moving on.
Well, I mean, like, no, we have to talk. We can't not talk about the song. It's a horrible. So, like, in its time,
was not terrible.
It was not terrible. It's a really well written song. Paul still has the piano. He loves to show it off. He played the piano part.
Another Jerry Lee Lewis kind of Kiss tune.
Another Motown.
In many ways, however you want to look at that.
Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis, very clever of you right there. Very R. Kelly of the time.
Oh shit.
Dean loves to write songs about him being a lecherous older guy and boning teenagers, which is disgusting.
Correct.
I know it was the story of the day back then. That's not an excuse. It's as a song, you can just hold it up as a song musically.
It is. In fairness, in 1977, this was not scandalous. This was not even terrifying.
No,
this was a thing.
And the bass line is great, but like you go back, I listened to it again, and I was like, oh, I can't listen. Love Gun, I could only go one time through. Rock and Roll Over, I listened to again and again.
Yeah, I mean, however, the issue is, it is 2022 for now.
We can't. We just Going blind is a little more benign than this, because I think there's like a fantasy element.
It's not about there's no stalking.
There's a fantasy element to going blind that's not literal. This is literally a creepy fucking song and gross.
Yeah, it's stalking a high schooler,
a young girl when you're a 35-year-old guy.
Correct. Moving on to Got Love for Sale, shitty song,
super shitty.
Tomorrow and Tonight, filler at best.
Not that bad, and I will give them some again. The Motown, Ike and Tina Turner.
I know.
He's got the backing vocals. They tried the backing vocals, but there's like a little subtle in there. Tomorrow and Tonight. There's like a little catchiness in there. It's not a good execution, but like I like that they tried it.
I'm going to be honest here. You are making the greatest argument for Paul Stanley's Soul Station that anyone has made so far.
Including Paul, for sure.
Including Paul, yes.
Paul loves to say that's his jam. That's his
whole thing. What? If you look at the record, it's definitely there. Let's go ahead and flip this shit. Next, we get into I'm Paul Stanley, and I have heard Born Under a Bad Sign by Albert King. I'm sorry, Love Gun.
I know.
Great song.
It's an indelible song for that. Correct. It's definitely a top 10. Mm-hmm. I don't think they play it as much anymore, do they? Because he really can't sing it.
No, they still play it. They just lip sync.
He cannot sing it.
He can't. He can't sing anything anymore.
Yeah, but Love Gun is badass. And again, you have to go back to Role Models. I don't know. I don't think you've seen. Have you seen it?
Oh, you meant like the movie?
No, the movie Role Models. His dick is the gun, and the song is about Paul Stanley's dick. It's great. It's just great.
Actually, it's about Albert King's dick.
It is, but
moving on to Hooligan. Moving on to Human.
The worst Peter. Well, hold on. Hooligan's terrible, and it's the worst Peter Criss Kiss song that's not on the solo record.
Yes.
It's really bad.
No, Mainline is worse than this.
Mainline is also pretty bad, but he didn't write it.
He didn't write it. He wrote this.
He co-wrote this, and it's
with Stan Penridge,
his boy. Well, Stan Penridge is going to get if you write a Beth, you get a lifetime fucking pass. Like that's it.
Yeah, he's got a lot of. Peter Criss is keeping Stan Penridge, and
he's rich. That dude's house is paid for. He's not having money troubles. Christmas is always good. I'm gonna come in here, and I know you don't like the song. I think Almost Human is great.
You know what? Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna interrupt this shit. I agreed until the moment I saw Gene Simmons solo play Almost Human, and I went, "Holy shit! I finally get it." No, great song. It's terrible.
It's
like Voldemort, right? Voldemort did terrible things, but great.
No, I gotta disagree. I think this is actually an excellent song. It's beautifully written and performed. I love the bass line. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It is actually Gene being the creepy bad guy monster movie vibe he wanted to have.
The only one
It
he
could
ever
have
did it in.
almost been a Black Sabbath song if it was a little heavier. It's
You are high.
I am not at all high and just had a few sips of this not good mid beer. And I wish I could hand this beer. Wish we were together so I could just give you this beer to drink because I can't drink. The can is cool though. Continue. Reeling with the feeling. Don't stop. Continue.
Oh yeah, I know that song. Shubba Plaster Caster. Fuck this shit.
Oh, so Plaster Caster's great though.
Great on Unplugged if you don't listen to anything he says.
No, I mean like they memorialize like a legendary.
You know what? Okay. Person. In fairness. Okay, agreed. That's amazing.
Not a terrible song.
They immortalize the ladies that put rock stars' dicks in plaster.
Yeah, awesome. No, she just passed away. Also,
did she?
Oh, yeah, she just died this year.
That's unfortunate. I feel
and
bad for
it's
that.
A very good.
However,
song.
I worked at GNC and Vitamin World for years, where they sell Yohimbe, and so hearing dudes go, "I need to get my love going." Whenever anybody uses the word love for dick, I'm turned off.
It's cringy. It's cringy.
I picture all the dudes that came up to me talking.
But like, he can't say my dick is in her hands. He has to say my love is in her hands.
Not in 1977, anyway.
You cannot. Anyway, you could not.
Great bass line. Everything is great except
catchy.
For Gene's singing.
Chorus. I don't know.
Gene's lyrics.
Gene's the lyrics are not good, but Gene's all right.
All right. Let us finish this piece of crap with "Then She Kissed Me." Fuck.
Another one. Another cover.
Anybody need this?
Who asked for this? Like, you're totally out of ideas. Again, did not come prepared. Came better prepared on the last one. Came back to the studio somewhat unprepared. Went back to Eddie, who's not.
Wait, did we even say "Shock Me"?
Did we skip "Shock Me"? You might have.
Skip "Shock Me." Ace Frehley sang a song. The lyrics are terrible. Vocals are squiffy.
Well, it's his first thing ever.
Solo.
He claims he never sang a song before this song.
Solo is way overrated.
Live, it's great.
Live, it's great.
Not great on here. It's a filler song on here until they go play it on tour, and then it's awesome with the bombs and
oh my god, truth bombs. All right. Anyway, back to Then She Kissed Me. I loved Then He Kissed Me in Goodfellas. Also, started watching The Sopranos finally.
I thought about doing a rewatch of The Sopranos. Actually,
I've never watched. I'm watching for the first time.
No! Now I kind of want to do it with you and analyze it. We'll do maybe a Sopranos check.
I'm halfway. I'm one disc into season 2.
Oh wow! Season 2. You've made some strides. All right. Well,
anywho, so that is Love Gun. Love Gun is a record that happened. It is it's a lot like a lot of Kiss records, unfortunately. The first 3, that's when they blew their load.
So here's a question. We'll separate the Alive and Alive 2 for a second. The first 3 are all pretty marginal, with like a handful of great actual songs.
The albums?
The first 3.
Oh no!
The first 3 Kiss records.
The first two are great. For me, B pluses.
Okay. I think Dress to Kill has like one side that's an A, and then the rest of it is bad.
Dress to Kill is a C.
Mostly.
And Dress to Kill is a C because
with 2 A's in the songs though. But
but side 2 is an A, side 1 is an F.
That's totally true.
And then that becomes
in the middle.
Right, and that becomes the latent motif.
So what about
going forward?
So what about these 3?
These 3, Destroyer, I'm sorry, B-, Rock and Roll Over, C+, Love Gun, B.
So here's me now. Destroyer, B, despite how they try to fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Rock and Roll Over, B+, despite everything, because it's their songs they wrote, and the A's are A's, and everything else is like a D.
Yeah.
Not quite an F.
Yeah.
Except for the one with the lyrics, that's the worst thing ever. And then Love Gun is a C, straight up. Unfortunately, despite the 2 really great songs.
It is a C. And
Love Gun and Shock Me are A's. And they don't really have another good song on these 2 records.
The thing about Kiss is not an album band. They are a live band.
They love to say how many albums they sold, but they're not an album band.
Correct. They are like Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden is not an album band. I love them. But most of their albums have no personality. They're just a thing Iron Maiden put out. It's a collection of songs, mostly. mostly. But that is every Kiss record, basically, except for maybe 4 out of 20. Their live records.
Generous. It's not 4.
I'm being nice.
Like
I'm
Revenge
counting.
and like.
No, I'm counting Elder and Carnival.
Oh, the Elder. Oh, I don't count Carnival.
1, 2, Carnival, and Elder. That's all. That's me. But other than that, they've got a great song on every record.
That they do. Sometimes two.
At least one. At least one
terrible songs.
Truly great track.
A lot of songs that should never be played again.
Oh my God, yeah. She's So European. That how that made it to a record. How that got played in front of anybody else in the band. How that exists now. People still say they love it. I hate you if you do. A little, not seriously. But so now what makes Kiss great is their aura of the live show, not their live show. They have created this mythos about how tight they were, how amazing they were, how big the stage show was. No, and no. It's mythos. It's fake it till you make it, and they're still faking it. It wasn't until the 90s when their pyro exploded. It wasn't until the aughts when their stage show got. They never had a stage show. Let's call a thing what it is. Gene flies in Dynasty. Ace has a smoking guitar. Gene blows. Meaningful, cool thing they do is Ace's smoking guitar because he's so great the guitar smokes. So that's their mythos. So they come back, the live mythos, and they dig for gold again with Alive 2. Frankly, Alive 1 is the best live record they've ever put out. And the thing about Alive 2 I really dislike, and I'm just going to grab it so I don't got to Google the track list. It's not the live show from the time. This is a fake live show. Some of the tracks are the Budokan live tracks. The basis of them are repurposed for Alive 2. So the Alive 2 show at the Forum in LA, it theoretically happened, but it's not what they didn't really record it for it. So starts off with Detroit Rock City from Budokan, into King of the Nighttime World from Budokan, into Ladies Room, which, God, I hate that song. It doesn't get better. Making Love, amazing song. I love this song. Wait, that's the one that was bad. I'm sorry, I got that confused with I Want You. Sorry. No, I mean, slight change in lyrics, and this is not terrible. Love Gun, again. What can you say about that hasn't been said? Anything that you could say about Love Gun, Paul Stanley has already said 20 times this week in interviews. Side 2, Calling Dr. Love, Gene's last hurrah as a cool songwriter, because this was actually fun. Christine Shock Me, yay, Ace Frehley doing a thing with the truncated solo. And I don't understand why they have never given us a full Ace Frehley solo on a live record. They've always truncated them.
It's called disrespect.
Fair. Hard Luck Woman. That was never played live by Kiss ever up to this point. It was not played live until the Unplugged tour. So I don't know what the hell that was. Tomorrow and Tonight also never played live.
You feeling okay? You're very sniffly on the mic.
It's been rainy this week. I apologize.
Just checking on your health and well-being.
No, I am fine. I'm fine. It's been a really, it's one of those cool, rainy Decembers like I love. Not snow, but rain. So then we get to side 3, which is the last live side. I Stole Your Love, not a great tune. It's just not great. Beth, the idea of singing to a track, I just never could wrap myself around that and enjoy it. God of Thunder, this is the ultimate version of that song. You don't need Bob Ezrin's kids screaming into helmets. This is the one. I Want You, this is the ultimate version of I Want You. Shout it out loud. Great. the live portion of this record, it has its ups and downs. It's not like Alive. The thing about Alive 2 versus Alive 1, Alive 1 that was the set list. That was what they were playing at the time.
I'm going to
Alive
hold
2,
all my thoughts to the end.
fair. Alive 2 was an amalgamation. They did not want to re-release any live tunes. Respect there. That's a great idea. However, you didn't play most of these. So now I'm burpy. I finger fudged it. I don't know what's going on. Side 4. Ugh. I'm sorry. Most of this is bad. I like Rocket Ride, and I'm done.
So let's back up for a second. This is the best Kiss live record, not Alive, and I'll tell you why. Because this is actually Kiss when they were successful. Because Alive is a worse lie than this lie. This album is a lie. This quadruple-sided album is a fucking damn lie. But it's a better lie than Alive. They are now successful, wealthy. They can sing what they mean. The songs actually mean something in reality to the life they're living, which is why the second set of Kiss records are grittier. They're not better, but they're grittier. They are better. They're better and they're slightly grittier and more real because they are based in reality. That being said, if you're gonna honk, mute yourself. Anyway, I guess you did. So if you're gonna spew into this, Phil. Anyway, Wayne's World reference. Side 1 of Alive 2 is great, even with the shitty songs. We know this shit is farcical. And you do the big hits really shine. They
agreed.
And unlike like also other bands that, like, what band has ever done 2 live albums in 2.5 years? None, 0, except maybe Dream Theater with the bootlegs and shit. But I like that they didn't repeat anything. They did have, Rock and Roll All Night Live was a big hit single. And I'm sure if one of these things had gotten, more play, it would have been also.
They were shooting for, they were trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice. I get that. If it works once, it might have worked twice.
I Want You is an incredible song. I actually don't like the live version of it as much because Paul does the extended I want you. I hate it. I wish he would have stopped. Somebody should have reined him in a little bit, like Sean Delaney, rein him in just a tad. But Paul is feeling himself. He really is an incredible frontman at this time.
Agreed.
And one of the best voices of this era and very underrated.
Totally.
Dr. Love is great.
Mm-hmm.
God of Thunder. That's where Gene put in the old Firehouse stuff with the breathing fire.
Mm-hmm. No. He spat blood.
Oh yeah.
Instead, but
the bass solo. There's I want to say it's the old TV show 3-2-1 Contact on PBS in the 70s.
Oh my
and 80s.
lord.
Taking it way back. So they had an episode on Kiss and they went and visited Kiss on tour. Obviously, this is the 80s, so it's a little after this. But they showed you behind the scenes how Kiss does all the things. That Paul's guitars, the smash guitar is already smashed. And the smoke bomb and how you put it into the Les Paul without melting the pickups, which happened a few times. And then they go into this thing. They had Gene's, the soundboard has a separate module in it. Instead, not just the mix of the live sound, but Gene's vocals are processed because Gene doesn't sound like I am the Lord of the Wasteland. He does not sound like that. He doesn't sound like that's not how his voice sounds.
Right.
But they modulated his voice. He did start talking to the crowd a little bit more. Whoa! Whenever he's speaking, that voice, like a vocoder, not quite a vocoder like In the Air Tonight, but it's on there. Or Dogs by Pink Floyd also as a vocoder. So I really love the 3 sides of Alive. And I'm going to tell you, 2 of those 4 songs are fucking amazing. Okay? Absolutely amazing. Which 2 do you think I'm going to say?
Rocket Ride and All American Man.
No. All American Man is good, not great. It's good. I don't like the lyrics, but it's a good song. Larger Than Life is amazing. It's a great Kiss song, incredible riff, phenomenal grooves, and an amazing solo. An amazing solo by Ace.
Bob.
Whatever. Ace, Bob, doesn't matter. Apparently, Pantera recorded a cover of this that we've never heard, recorded but never put it out, of Larger Than Life. I would pay a lot of good money to get that bootleg or something. I think Alive 2 is the most realist Kiss record there is. Alive 3, I don't care about. The Symphony, I don't care about. I should have never did those. Should not even exist. Straight up.
I like those.
I know you love them, but they shouldn't exist. You're allowed to love stuff that I hate, and I'm allowed to hate
Fair.
stuff that you love. We're gonna fight it out harder next week, promise you. But like, I think Alive 2 is actually better than Alive for a lot of those reasons I said, and I really love it. And
The thing about Alive that I like,
it was the second vinyl I ever bought beside Rock and Roll Over. Was Alive 2.
Here's the last thing I'm going to say this week. Besides, thank you, Keefy. I love these conversations, and I hope everybody else listening loves them too. Last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to let you take us out. I did last week, I believe. I've been drinking. I don't know. Me? Okay. I'm going to say this, then you get a word, and then I'll take us out. Alive 1, what makes it better than Alive 2 in my mind? Two things. One, it's the legit set list. Two, it is the sound of the concert we believe they played. Three, that's it.
Well, all right. I already gave my refutation of that already, but
fair enough.
I will say that Alive 2 is awesome. Alive 2 is just like, I can't tell you how many hours I stared at that open gatefold and dreamed that I could be at a Kiss show while my douchebag brother that was 10 years older than me was going to Kiss shows and seeing this fucking drum riser with Peter on top of these drums. And
I'll tell you this. I remember when 1996 was the first time I saw them. It was July 1996, July 3rd. And I had Alive 2. I bought Alive 2 first because Ace Frehley sang a song on it. So Alive 2, this is one of the rare times where the first thing I heard is not my favorite in the end. But I remember looking at the gatefold on my CD, of course, because it was the 90s, thinking, holy crap, this is what the stage for the Kiss show is going to look like in 3 months, in 4 months, in 2 months, in 1 month, the next week. It was basically the same thing without the stairs. So same thing, basically. And I loved that anticipation. And that is what Kiss is. Kiss is an entity who's able to capture your imagination in a way that most bands can't. Their mystique, their abilities, their ability to capture your imagination eclipses the oftentimes lackluster songcraft.
Nick is far more eloquent and smarter than I will ever be. But I will say this: as usual, I'm gonna take this to a down note, as I always do, because I'm negative as fuck. If you love Kiss, if you care about Kiss, if you're still listening, you must care about Kiss. You can't possibly hate Kiss and have listened this far. But if you can't, probably, if you love Kiss, Love Gun and Alive 2 are really the beginning of the end of the classic Kiss in my mind.
No,
whole episode next week.
No, it is the end.
Yeah, it's the end. Like
the zenith.
When you get one of those chocolate oranges for Christmas and you smash it, that's what Kiss is becoming under that foil. They're smashed. What they started out as.
Alive 2 is the climax.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that they didn't show up to their own most important record of their career 3 straight times and still got platinum records out of it is mind-blowing. But like, okay, at least the other two were a little more put together. I mean, obviously Destroyer is the one everybody remembers because of the, incredible songs, the few good ones. But like, and it sold the most records, but like the other 2 records are actually better records. We've established that. But like,
they didn't come prepared. They are the luckiest band. They are the luckiest band. They are the most accidental trend-setting band.
It was accidental success of all time for a bunch of guys that act like they planned it this way.
Correct. And that's, what?
Place to end it.
Great place to end it. What do you got to say? Anything?
I'm all done. It's going to get worse from here. Love you, pal.
Love you too. This is the end of the good times. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you're going to come back for next week for the greatest Kiss times never. Got nothing else. I can't sugarcoat this. Eat some snow caps when you listen next week. This is the Glacier Musical Podcast. It doesn't play in Peoria.